So discussing brain physiology, there's a few different aspects of brain physiology that we're going to be concerned with, but the basic idea is that normal brain function involves continuous electrical activity in the form of action potentials. And an electroencephalogram, or EEG, records this activity. Here is the picture of a person wearing the scalp electrodes that are necessary for an EEG. It's a relatively inexpensive process, and oftentimes it's fairly easy to use. It's uncomfortable, but fairly easy. Generally speaking, to get a complete EEG, you want to wait about 24 hours. So in other words, you have to do your daily life and your daily routine while wearing these electrodes and a little, the kind of little gadget attached to your belt, sort of a thing. So the patterns of neuronal electrical activity are called brain waves, and what we're looking at here in this picture are brain waves. Wave frequency is expressed in Hertz, and wave amplitude is considered as well when we're looking at what a brain wave actually looks like. All right, so let's take a look at the types of brain waves. At the top here we have alpha waves. Alpha waves are regular and rhythmic. They tend to be low amplitude, slow, synchronous. These indicate an idling brain. The Hertz here, the frequency of waves is about 8 to 13 Hertz, 8 to 13 waves per minute. Next we consider beta waves. Beta waves are more irregular. You'll notice that it looks kind of alpha in some parts, but then there are some parts where it's actually quite fast. This is a higher frequency, 14 to 30 Hertz, 14 to 30 waves per minute. So they're more irregular, and this actually, they're low amplitude, but they have these bursts of high frequency activity. These tend to occur during the awake and mentally alert state. Next, we're going to look at theta waves. These are more irregular than alpha waves. They tend to be a little bit higher in amplitude. They're common in children. They are abnormal in adults, other than there's a few times during sleep that you might see theta waves. And last, we have delta waves, which are the highest of amplitude, the lowest of frequency, and they are seen in deep sleep. So brain waves tend to change with age, sensory stimuli, brain disease, and the chemical state of the body. In other words, if you're taking some kind of medication or drugs that might affect your mental functioning, your brain waves will change as well. EEGs can be used to diagnose and localize brain lesions, tumors, infarcts, infections, abscesses, and epileptic lesions. And a flat EEG, which means no electrical activity, is clinical evidence of death. A related topic is the topic of sleep. There are two major types of sleep: non-REM, N-R-E-M, non-REM, non-rapid eye movement, non-REM, and then REM, which is rapid eye movement. And you pass through all 4 stages of non-REM during the first 30 to 45 minutes of sleep. Let's take a look at how this looks here. Okay, let's do this one first. Let's do the stages of non-REM and REM first. So the non-REM stages include stage 1, non-REM stage 1. The eyes are closed, relaxation begins. The EEG in this case will show something akin to alpha waves. Remember what that means. It means daydreaming, but it also represents non-REM stage 1. You can be easily aroused at this stage. Oftentimes a person who's in non-REM does not even know that they were sleeping. Stage 2, non-REM stage 2, the EE pattern is irregular. You have little structures called sleep spindles here. We don't exactly know exactly why they're present, but there are some ideas about it. These are high voltage wave bursts, and this is representative of non-REM stage 2. Arousal is more difficult at this level. And then we have two stages called non-REM stage 3 and non-REM stage 4. These are both also called slow wave because the waves tend to slow down quite a bit. The brain waves tend to slow down quite a bit. So it's slow wave 3 and slow wave 4, or just non-REM stage 3, non-REM stage 4. So at stage 3, the sleep deepens. You start to see theta and delta waves. Your vital signs decline, and dreaming is common during this period. And in stage 4, the EG pattern is dominated by delta waves. The skeletal muscles are relaxed. Arousal is very difficult. This is the deepest level of sleep that you can achieve. If we take a look back at REM sleep then, it's an interesting stage of sleep. REM means rapid eye movement, and it is just like that. Your eyes kind of dart back and forth. You can actually see somebody who's in REM sleep. You can actually see their eyeballs moving behind their eyelids. The vital signs will increase in REM. The skeletal muscles are actually inhibited or basically paralyzed, except the ocular muscles, which do allow the eyes to continue moving. Most dreaming takes place in REM sleep. Some dreaming does take place in stage 3 and stage 4 of non-REM, but most dreaming takes place in REM. And then I just wanted to take you through, this is kind of a typical sleep cycle of somebody who has slept through the night and had a decent night of sleep. You notice on the x-axis we have the time of sleep in hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes up to 8 hours. And then it has the stages listed here, and it's basically indicating on the y-axis that REM, believe it or not, is closest to the awake state. And that's not entirely surprising given that the REM and non-REM stage 1 are actually very similar in their brain activity. REM is actually more like awake sleep than non-REM is. But anyway, it's basically giving you the awake state is in red, REM is in orange, and then the steps going from 1, 2, 3 into the deepest sleep 4 are listed here, 1, 2, 3 to 4, and your deepest sleep is non-REM stage 4. So REM is actually very close to the awake state. So a few things to point out here. You notice that you achieve your deepest level of sleep only in the first few of your cycles of the night, and so you'll end up going through cycles where you go into deep sleep and then come back out. And sometimes I've seen some of these diagrams where there's like a little tick upward, indicating that you actually very briefly awaken at the end of the REM stage. So you go from awake straight into non-REM 1, 2, 3, 4, back through 3, 2, and 1, and then you go up to REM for a brief period of time. And again, sometimes I've seen an indication that you awaken slightly right after your REM stage. And then your next cycle, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and back up through into REM. You might awaken slightly at the end. You'll notice the next cycle, you don't actually get the deepest level of sleep. You're still pretty deep, but not at the deepest level. And your REM is a little bit longer that time, and then you only go down to stage 2, and REM is much longer, and then only down to stage 2, and then back up, and then you're awake again. And that's actually a pretty healthy night's sleep. Yeah, that's a pretty healthy night's sleep for most people. Okay, we'll just talk more about an elaboration of this entire process and some of the interesting stories around sleep cycles and some of the issues around sleep cycles, and we'll get to all that stuff in class.